The 1996 Summer Olympics were not only memorable for Atlanta, but the world spotlight changed the trajectory of the city's future. And the story behind how ATL secured the honor that very few other U.S. cities have in the past is fascinating and the subject of a new documentary, The Games in Black and White. So happy to have George Herther, the founder of Atlanta Story Partners, and Bob Judson, co-director and co-executive producer here. Talk about how the Olympics were so transformative for our city.
You know, many people look at the 1996 Games as Atlanta's finest hour. The impact of the Games we're still feeling today. I mean, you look beyond the Mercedes Dome, the Mercedes-Benz Dome right now, you see Centennial Yards rising. That massive development would not be built there if it wasn't for Centennial Olympic Park. So these games are just continuing to have a major impact on our city.
True.
And so much of why we had that moment in time was because of a very important, significant relationship between Andy Young and Billy Payne. Can you talk more about that?
Well, Andy, as everybody knows, is a civil rights icon and very close to Dr. Martin Luther King. And Billy Payne, of course, was a football hero up at UGA. So when the two of them got together, it was a black man and a white man, and a magical moment and a movement to unite the people of Atlanta to go after this quest, which, we were the underdog. Athens, which was the home of the modern Olympics, everybody thought that, being the centennial of the Games, that Athens would win. So Andy and Billy went out there and traveled the world and convinced everybody that Atlanta should be the home of the 96 Games.
The 1996 Olympic Games to the city of Atlanta.
To bring the world to the city too busy to hate.
Right.
Talk about how that process changed so much in how our city would grow over time.
The city was already on the map in terms of its growth, but it wasn't known internationally. When we got out there, the only way we could tell people where Atlanta was, they thought it was Atlantic City, where the gambling took place in 1990, and we'd have to draw a map of Florida and show them where Disney World is to locate Atlanta. Now, today, you can't go anywhere. You cannot go anywhere that people don't understand and know where Atlanta, Georgia is, not only because of CNN and Coca-Cola, but primarily because of the Olympics. And the Olympics had a major impact on the growth of Atlanta. If you look at the trajectory of our population, that decade, 1990 to 2000, boom, it's a straight line up. And it's been continuing ever since then because of the incredible impact the Games have had on this city.
And also impacted who would have opportunities in those decades moving forward, correct?
Oh, yeah. The first act of the board of directors, when as our film clearly states, Shirley Franklin tells the story, when Billy and Andy and Maynard Jackson came home from Tokyo, the first deal they struck was the Equal Economic Opportunity Program. The first act of the board of directors, July 1991, ensured that every contract that went out from the Olympic Committee, any female or minority-owned business in town had a chance to participate in that. And by the time the Games came, over $500 million was spent on 4,000 different firms to lift everybody's boat, if you will, as the tide rose.
It's incredible to think back. Now we have the gift, I guess, of hindsight, seeing all that's developed over time, including the city. And there are some things that remain the same. I was able to be out there on a day of production at Centennial Olympic Park, and there have been some wonderful improvements over time, but that remains to be such an important epicenter of our city.
Yeah, one time, that was a part of the city that was blighted. There really wasn't any kind of development there. People avoided it. And it's one of the reasons that we had such a hard time for so long attracting people to the downtown area. So, when Billy looked down upon that area from the Forum, where they were headquartered, where ACOG was headquartered, he had this vision of using the Games as a motivating factor in bringing that redevelopment to that area. And then that naturally grew into the idea of Olympic Park, which, as George said, has just been a tremendous asset and continues to be for the city of Atlanta.
I mean, it's so fun to think back. The Magnificent Seven for USA Women's Gymnastics was key. For Amy Van Dyken for USA Swimming. I mean, Georgia Tech still has the Olympic pool that is used on a regular basis. As you put this together, did you think, wonder if we could get this thing back here one day?
Well, I don't think Bob and I are thinking that it's going to happen in our lifetime, but certainly Paris just hosted its third Olympic Games. 1900, 1924, 2024. LA will host its third Olympic Games, 32, 84, and now 2028. And so it's not out of the question. And the doors are open in Lausanne. Lausanne is the IOC is now very interested in talking to any cities about any year in the future. Atlanta could call them tomorrow and say, let's talk about 2096.
Anybody listening? just a thought. When you had the chance to talk to now Ambassador Andrew Young, and he could reflect back on that time, his relationship with Billy Payne, what struck you most about what he shared with you in context of the games in black and white?
I think it's Andy's optimism, his belief from the beginning, from the first day Billy walked into his office, that we could win this thing. As Shirley recounts that story, Shirley said, Andy, we can't do this. You've only got 2 years left in your administration. Too much to do. We can't be distracted by this crazy dream. And Andy said, well, Shirley, I'm going to do it because I think it'll be good for our city. Whether we win or lose, I think it'll be good for our city because it'll bring the people of our city together in new ways. And that optimism, and he said, but I do think we can win. And that optimism was really key to the whole effort.
Yes.
If anyone could get it done, he was the man to drive it.
And Billy is such a driving personality, and he really envisioned this idea that the way we win this is to go out and make friends with IOC members around the world. And that strategy paid off, because in the end, as long as you've got the technical requirements covered, they vote for the people they like best. And Billy and his team and Andy made friends with people around the world, the voters, and brought those votes home.
Well, I know he'll be part of the premiere at the Rialto along with 3 other mayors of Atlanta. What do you hope is the key takeaway as people watch this film?
Pride in the city, you know, a deep pride in what Atlanta has struggled to do, you know, since its rebirth after the Civil War, and then struggling to become part of the global community, which we are now. You know, having pride in our ability to come together, both as a creative team and as a very diverse population, to move us forward in an endeavor that was, as I said, was, you know, against all odds.
Well, thank you for telling the story, because it preserves such an important part of our city's history in such a special, in-depth way, covering stories I think a lot of people who are even entrenched in the Olympics have never heard before.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.
So
Great
premiere
being here.
this weekend.
Rialto Center for the Arts, 6:30 Saturday night. Tickets still available on the Atlanta Film Festival website. We hope you all come down and see it.
The games in black and white. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it so
Thank
much,
you.
and thank you for your work.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.